Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Lead, Grow, Deepen. Thank you so much for joining us today. Elephant in the room, if you're looking at your screen right now and thinking to yourself, who is this kid? Well, my name is Maddox Dorn, and I'm the intern with G at G. To give you a little bit more background, I am from a small town in southern Illinois called Olney, and Olney has about 8,500 residents, and oddly enough, we are known for our white squirrels. So if you want to see an albino squirrel, Olney is definitely your place to go. My passion for food definitely comes from a program that I did my senior year of high school called CEO. And through that program, I was able to start and run my own barbecue business for around 2 years. And thus, that's the reason I fell in love with the food industry. So if you are new to Lead, Grow, Deepen, thank you for joining in today. But if you are not new to Lead, Grow, Deepen, thank you for showing up. And please don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on all notifications for this channel so you will never miss an episode of Lead, Grow, Deepen. It is so good to see everybody hopping on the live stream. Thank you so much for joining. When you have a moment, definitely drop your name, location, or even feel free to say hello in the chat box because I would love to know where you are tuning in from. Throughout the event, if you guys have any questions or comments, type them in that same chat box, please. Our guests, Drew and Richard, would love to answer any questions that you guys have for them. I want to share that this series is all about leading with inclusion, growing diverse representation, and deepening our partnerships through DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. ISS Guggenheimer is a company of belonging, and it is a place to be you. We also have some great resource groups, great employee resource groups. If you want to join and become a part of one, please scan that QR code to get connected. There are so many great opportunities like leading one of these groups or even just joining one. So please definitely scan that QR code to become a member of one of those groups. And we have people coming in from all over the place. We got Lauren Beckwith, Boulder, Colorado, Randall, Chef Randy, we got in from San Francisco. It's so great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Kyle, what is going on? From San Francisco. We got so many different places. Thank you so much for joining. That's my brother. We got Gavin Dorn from Rock Springs, Wyoming in here. Thank you for joining. Jillian Bettis from Olney. We got Southern Illinois in the house. John, thank you so much for joining from Ohio. It is so great to see everybody on here. And guys, we have such a special episode today. I am so excited to talk to Richard and Drew Bunting, who are the owners of the Smokin Pig in Southern Illinois. Drew and Richard, what is going on? Thank you guys so much for joining.
What's up, Maddox? How's it going, man?
Yeah, man.
It's going great. It's going great. Well, first off, I just want to thank you two so much for joining today and giving me the time, giving everybody your time. And it is such an honor to be able to talk to you guys and just let people know where we come from. So, Drew, you are a deputy sheriff in Richland County. With all of the different activities that you have going on, how did the Smokin Pig come into existence?
So actually, it kind of just started, because of my job. I had weird days off. I'm off through the week. My family's at work and school, and you find you're just there's nothing to do on a Tuesday, for instance. So I got in the hobby of, smoking different kinds of meats for my friends. And it became something that I enjoyed. And I just thought, I might be able to, make some money doing this stuff. So it was back in 2016, bought a couple tables, a pop-up tent, a couple warmers, and just set up on the town square down in Albion, and started selling just a limited menu. Like I think I started with pulled pork sandwiches and barbecue nachos. Of course, we've grown our menu since then, but I think that's what we started. Maybe we had pork chops too. And I mean, it was like it took off immediately, and it was a huge hit. So we packed up the tent. We bought a food truck, a smaller food truck to start with, and then outgrew it quickly. And then we purchased a larger food truck, this yellow one that you see here on the screen. And that's the current food truck that we're in now. And then in 2022, we were approached to lease a restaurant in the Grayville I-64 KOA campground. And then the entrance to our restaurant there is also on the screen in front of you. So, from 2016 to 2022, we grew from a tent and tables to a food truck plus a full service restaurant and bar. And we're lucky to be able to turn a hobby into a career.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is great. And every business has to have that starting point, and look where you guys are now. And food is just such a great, diverse career. Everybody has a different story to tell of how they got in it. So, Drew, how did you get into food, and what inspires you to stay in it?
Like I said, that getting into it was just a hobby, and it just kind of snowballed from there. But without a doubt, the inspiration to stay in it is the customers. My dad, we'll get into it later. My dad runs the restaurant for us. Like you said, I work full time for the sheriff's office here. So, but and he'll tell you the same thing. It's the customers that, my dad makes a salary, but the restaurant really is not about making a lot of money. It costs a lot of money, and it doesn't make a lot of money. So it's hard to stay inspired by the money because it's really not there. But to have a customer come in and say, "Man, that was the best brisket we've ever had," or we have these 2-pound tomahawk steaks that really you can't. I don't know of any other restaurant that has them.
I don't think has them.
And people rave on and on about those, and for someone to tell you, "Hey, this is the best brisket we've ever had," and that person's from Texas where they're known for brisket. That's definitely the inspiration that keeps you going. And we're lucky enough we get these customers from all over the world because, like I said, our restaurant sits right off of Interstate 64 near the Indiana border. We're in a campground, so we get a ton of cross-country travelers that are traveling across the country in their big RVs, and they hop off to rest for a day or two in this campground, and they come in and eat our restaurant. And we had a couple from Maine the other day, which that's crab leg country, and we do crab leg specials a couple days a month, and they're like, this is the best crab leg we've ever had. So that is without a doubt what keeps us going in the business for sure.
They're actually going to time their return trip around the next crab night so they can have crab legs again.
Exactly. And yeah, that speaking from experience, that customer appreciation there's just something about the personal appreciation that will beat any dollar amount that they're giving you. So that is great. And Richard, what cuts or parts of the animal does the Smokin Pig use? And also, what kind of barbecue does the Smokin Pig use?
Okay, well, for the pork, we use the butts for our pulled pork, loins for our pork chops. We do baby back ribs. Occasionally, we'll do pork belly burn ends. Beef-wise, we do brisket. We cut our own steaks out of like a rib roll. We've got the long bone tomahawks like Drew was talking about. And sometimes we've had beef ribs. And as far as barbecue sauce, we tried all different sauces and settled on a Cattleman's barbecue sauce we get from GFS. Plus, we sell Dorn barbecue sauce at the restaurant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, guys, if this is not making you hungry, then I don't know what would. It's about lunchtime here, and I am starving from that. So you guys use a lot of different cuts of the animal, which honestly I think is pretty rare, especially around Southern Illinois and the region. I feel like I rarely see anybody use full cuts and the full animal from nose to tail. So you also, Richard, you said in that you guys use locally branded stuff, and you guys don't use your own barbecue. So the Smokin Pig uses other brands of barbecue, And so, Drew, this question is for you. How does the Smokin Pig incorporate locally sourced ingredients into their menu?
So that's something we really do pride ourselves on, is our locally sourced items. It's something that not a lot of businesses probably do, and it comes down to cost. But I think sometimes the quality you get from a locally sourced item, definitely the benefits outweigh the cons, as far as typically it's a higher price. But a few of the local sourced items we use lettuce from Joy Lane Produce. That is a town in West Salem, about 20 minutes from our restaurant. And this lettuce, I mean, it doesn't compare to bag store-bought lettuce. I mean, he picks it, he grows it in a greenhouse, he picks it and delivers it on the exact same day. So, I mean, it doesn't get any fresher than that as far as the lettuce goes. The hamburgers that we serve, the ground beef from the burgers comes from Country Home Processing. Again, a town 10 minutes from our restaurant, and the beef, the ground beef that they use for their burgers comes from the cattle that they raise right there on their farm in that same town. So again, the freshness and the quality just doesn't compare to store-bought burger, and you can most definitely tell a difference in the taste of it as well. Like I said, we do have a full bar, so we do offer some wines, and some of our wines that we offer are locally sourced from Homestead Vineyards. Again, West Salem, Illinois is where that's located. 25 minutes from our restaurant, and we also, as far as the retail side, we do sell Your Barbecue Sauce Maddox, Dorn Barbecue. Dorn Barbecue came into existence a couple of years ago, like Maddox kind of explained in his intro there, when he started that business as his CEO, his Richmond County CEO class, or his individual business. And that program we're big supporters of the CEO program. We've got several employees that come out of the CEO program, and they're a different breed of kids. When you're talking about high school kids, they're totally different. But we do sell Dorn Barbecue on the retail side in our restaurants. So
Yes, yeah, totally agree. And I think one of the coolest things about small communities like ours is that we see a ton of small family-owned businesses, which makes me wonder, Richard, what is it like working father and son for you and Drew?
Oh, honestly, we've not had any issues at all. We get along great. Also, both my daughters work with us. My middle daughter, she works 2, sometimes 3 lunch shifts a week, takes care of all the scheduling and does all the ordering. My youngest daughter comes in on Friday nights and serves for us, and she'll fill in some too along, if we need her to. But as far as problems, we absolutely have no problems whatsoever. Everything goes great as long as they do exactly like I tell them.
Yeah, well, that's great. I definitely feel like the chemistry that you and Drew have is special, which shows in your guys' restaurant. And it's also just a great thing to have in life. So another important aspect of business is, especially a business like yours, is having inspired employees. So Richard, what strategies does the Smokin Pig use to keep their employees motivated and engaged?
It honestly doesn't take a lot because we have super employees. I mean, every person that works there, I consider a friend, and not just an employee. We all get along great. I try to work with them rather than be their boss, and I think that makes a big difference too.
yeah, I mean, if I can just cut in real quick, Max, he washes cups, he busts tables, he runs food, he grills, he fries, he smokes the meat. Now, don't get me wrong, he doesn't do that. He doesn't do all of that every day, but when it needs to be done, he does it, and the employees see it. So, I mean, as an employee, seeing your boss do all the jobs and not just telling you what to do, you see him do it, you're going to do it whenever you need to. And I think that definitely keeps him inspired, is is watching the hard work, from the boss.
Yeah, that I totally agree. And one of my favorite things to see, definitely from a personal experience, is the owner or the leader of the restaurant or just the team coming out and doing that frontline work. So I really think that, especially examples like that, teach the employees like who they're working for and the kind of company they're working for. And it's just really, really motivating. So Drew, the Smokin Pig is big into fundraisers. So what are some of the fundraisers you guys do and why do you do them?
I mean, the reason we do them is just to insert ourselves into the community. We want to be involved in the community that we're at, and most of our fundraisers have come out of our food truck, and the majority of the fundraisers have been tipping fundraisers where we set up in a town and we have a certain cause for a certain person or a certain organization or a certain group that we're raising money for. And sometimes people come and buy food and put money in the tip jar. Sometimes people just come and just throw money in, to donate to the cause. I think at least around here, a lot of people that have a hardship going on, we'll see accounts get set up in banks and things like that, and that's great. But I think that's more geared towards the people that want to come in and give $1,000 or $5,000. And the people that, can't do that, they can come to our food truck and throw in $5. And if, 100 people throw in $5, that adds up. But so we've been doing these for different things throughout the years. Since 2020, we've actually raised over $137,000 to different groups and organizations and individuals. And honestly, it's the coolest thing ever, because that's not, and I want to make sure it's clear, that's not $137,000 of Smokin Pig money. That's $137,000 of just members of the community. And all we've done is create an avenue for them to donate to whatever cause, that we're raising money for. So I just want to make sure it's clear. It's not our money, but it is so neat to see when we do these fundraisers, how many people show up and how grateful and giving they really are. And it's, in the world we live in, it's nice to see communities come together like they do.
Yeah, that is amazing. And everybody on the stream knows just as well as I do that $137,000 is no joke money. And I would love to hear what everybody else has to say about what's been going on. So let's head over to the chat box and see if there's any questions for Drew and Richard. We have a question from John. He asks, what was the biggest challenge you faced moving into the food industry from your previous career? Drew, you want to take that one?
Well, I mean, I haven't really, I'm still doing my current career, so I didn't switch careers. And for my dad, I think it was a pretty smooth transition. My dad laid flooring, carpet, tile, hardwood, whatever, was in that line of business for 40 years. And just, you do something for 40 years, you're burnout on it. And not to mention the hard work physically that it is, especially for somebody that's getting older. But, so he actually, I would say, retired from that and bought a food truck and was running a food truck when we was approached. He was running a food truck of his own, not a Smokin Pig.
Right.
And when we were approached for this restaurant, so it was really a smooth transition. Nobody gave up a career. Nobody took a huge risk. He ended his career prior to the restaurant, and we just kind of moved into it. And then, like I said, I haven't ended my career, and I don't have any plans to either. Yeah, that's great. And so that leads me into the next question. Erica asks, what advice or thoughts do you have for anyone who is thinking about launching their own small business? I would say grow thick skin. as much as you'll want to try to please everybody, you never will. Especially in the restaurant business, I feel like, I think probably a lot of the people watching are part of the restaurant business, and I think this will hit home. There are people out there that come into a restaurant looking for trouble. They're looking for something wrong. So you're gonna get the bad reviews, no matter how hard you try not to. So I think just thick skin and maybe have a good padded savings account somewhere, because starting a small business is not easy. It's not cheap, and it takes some time to get to where you're actually making any money at all.
Yes, and that question right there leads right in to Randall's question, which is, what are your favorite types of wood to use for your barbecue?
I use pecan. It's the only wood we use. I've got a guy that trims trees, and he saves me all of his pecan wood and actually peels the bark off of it and everything for me. So it's really good, clean, burning, seasoned wood.
Great. Yeah, that's great. And I think that leads into our next question. So Drew, this question is for you. What are some challenges that a small family-owned business may encounter in upcoming years, you think?
The problem that we encounter every week is food costs and labor. That is, without a doubt, the biggest drain on a small business, whether it's a restaurant or any small business. Especially here in Illinois, we have, I don't know what California's is, but we have one of the highest minimum wages in the country. And, our restaurant is, if you drive 3 minutes east into Indiana, the minimum wage there is almost half of what it is here. And it costs the same to eat in Indiana as it does in Illinois. So the profit margins that those guys are making over there are obviously much higher, because they're not paying the help as much. And then just, a nationwide problem is the, inflation. And, everybody shops at the grocery store. They see the prices. Well, those aren't just magic prices in the grocery store, and we get to pay a cheaper amount. Like, food costs for restaurants all over the country are skyrocketing as well. And I think because of that, I think in the distant future, you might see small businesses, collapse because of the strain that comes from, food costs and high labor.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think in today's world, there is so much potential for starting a business or just starting anything that you want to, but that success that you guys have got is not going to come easy. And that's just like any other aspect of life. So guys, we are running out of time, which I don't want to stop talking to you guys. This has been great, but we are running out of time. So I really want to squeeze in this last question for Richard. And it is, if you could go back to your 20s and give yourself advice before the Smokin Pig was thought of, what would you say to yourself?
Oh, I think I would say, if I'm going to start a restaurant, don't wait till I'm 61.
Well, that is great.
A lot of hours.
Yeah, get her started early. Get her started when you're in your prime. Yeah, so I know. I understand. I see what you're saying. So that is great. But as said earlier, in today's society, there's unlimited potential to start a restaurant or a business. And if you have a dream, go get that dream. Now is the time. And guys, that right there concludes today's Lead Grow Deepen. So I just want to thank Drew and Richard. You guys were great today. I want to thank you guys again. And I think my biggest takeaway from this conversation is that success is not just all about profits. It's about the personal appreciation you guys get for customers and just exactly what you guys have proved, being involved with your community. That is so great. And as for everyone who tuned in today and the people who are going to be watching the recording, thank you so much for joining Lead Grow Deepen today. I had such a blast hosting this, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and definitely turn on notifications for this channel so you will never miss an episode of Lead Grow Deepen. Go make the world a better place.
Thanks, Max.